What does paradox teach us about operating in this time of crisis?
Well, Cass, paradox is, as I've explained, paradox is all about balance. And in a crisis, because we are people that have got a lizard brain and an executive brain at the front here, we're inclined to, I guess, move between them. And one of the things that makes us move between our lizard brain, which is typically something that's a response to an emergency or a crisis, and COVID is a crisis, means that often we're responding without thinking. And we lose that executive presence, we lose that ability to show up as the best version of ourselves, and we fight or flight. Now, you would have heard that in psychological terms, fight or flight. Is that something you're familiar with, Cass?
Definitely.
Tell me more, Cass. Have you seen yourself fight or flight in a work environment?
I think when you're in a heightened situation, whether it be, a stressful environment, maybe you've had a bad day, maybe you've got something going on in your personal life, and then you're trying to manage with a level head, but because you're in such a, I don't want to say boiler room, but you're in that intense environment, you're not thinking clearly, you might snap at others, and you're not going to come with your best self. You're not going to be thinking in that rational manner, for sure.
Exactly. So the insight here, Cass, is, and thinking of the cruel and the kind parent, and let's for a brief moment think about a kind parent who is permissive, the lovely parent all the time, but very, very imbalanced, only able to be kind and not very strong at being the harsh parent. When you put them under pressure, and let's imagine there were a whole lot of kids running around and creating mayhem in a small apartment in the time of COVID, when everybody's kind of under a lot of pressure, trying to do their work from whatever circumstance they're sitting in, what tends to happen is if you're not in balance, you can have a fight response or a flight response. In this case, because your tendency is to be permissive and soft, you would tend to be a flip or a flight response into harshness. And I don't know how many times I've seen this, where you see parents that are normally kind suddenly become extremely aggressive. Take those toys, put them away.
Yeah.
I've told you 10 times. And you see that, and that's no longer the executive brain speaking. And can you imagine as an executive of a business, which is under a lot of pressure, and you respond like that? Imagine what happens to your presence, to the way that people see you showing up.
The respect can go instantly, right? It's about, you've lost all credibility in that split second of action. You've lost your credibility.
You have indeed. So you've built up this entire presence in a normal environment, an entire operating capability which everyone reveres. And then suddenly, under a bit of pressure, when the board's putting pressure on the execs, and we've got to get our things right and got to get our people in tune and engaged, we suddenly have this fight or flight response, and people go, this is Jekyll and Hyde. Yesterday, this person was amazing. Today, they're just, what's going on? And that's the power of paradox. It highlights, if you can actually pinpoint what fight or flight responses you have to various paradoxes, be it your strategic paradox, your communication paradox. There's 12, in fact, that I'll be unpacking at a session in the Go Forward, in which I do as part of a training course as well with great vigor, and we can talk to that at another stage. But that's the power of understanding what you do under pressure and how you can work on it.